So first things first is we need to download the software that we're going to be using. And the software we're going to be using is called R, just the capital letter R. And the reason we're going to be using that, there's two reasons. One is it is 100% completely free. It's developed by a bunch of data science people, open source, so that anybody can use it. And I know that budgets are tight at public schools all across the country, and any way we can save money, that just means we can hire more teachers or pay the teachers that we already have a better wage. Um, but really, that's not the main reason we're going to be using it. The main reason we're going to be using it is that it is the most powerful data science tool. One of the most powerful, I don't want to get myself in too much trouble. It's one of the most powerful data science tools that is available. And the reason that it is so powerful is partly because it's free and it's open source, so that anybody can write new developed packages for it, and then they just do it for free and just give it out there for everybody else to use. Like all the people at RStudio that are developing a bunch of packages that are really helpful and useful for data cleaning and tidying up data. And we're going to be downloading that one too, but we're also downloading it because it's powerful and we can do a whole bunch of stuff with it. Now, it sounds perfect so far, but there is a pretty significant knock on it. It is an object-oriented programming language, which means you have to learn how to be a coder to be able to use it. Um, it's got a steep learning curve in the beginning, but I don't think it's as steep as most people think it is, or if it is, I don't think it needs to be. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this series, is that I understand that learning to code, I'm still not a great coder. Um, Learning how to do it, it's daunting, it's intimidating. But I think if we have enough patience with ourselves and with each other and really try to teach each other how to use these things, I think the community at large would benefit, so that we just don't have only PhD data scientists working with these kinds of tools. Just we need everyday people like ourselves working with these tools and developing things. And anytime we can get more people involved in projects, I think the better the project will ultimately end up becoming. So it's going to be hard to learn in the beginning. You're going to have some patience with yourself and maybe even some patience with me. But if I go a little too fast, or maybe I skip over something, or you start to get some error message when you're trying to do stuff, just let me know. I'm gonna throw my email up here. Even if you have trouble downloading the things that we're gonna download today, shoot me an email. Let me know what the problem is. Maybe we can resolve it through email. But I'm gonna try to go through this as slowly and specifically as I can. But like I said, we're going to be using R. That's the actual like analytics software we're going to be using. But we're also going to be downloading RStudio, which is kind of like it's way more than this, but it's kind of like window dressing. R is super ugly. Like I said, it's object-oriented programming, command line kind of stuff. Probably a bunch of words you don't understand, but basically it's just it's just a skeleton. There's nothing there. It's really boring, hard to look at, and that makes it intimidating as well. Um, and so the RStudio the user interface that we're going to download, it does a lot more than just provide a pretty interface. Because I don't want to get the RStudio people mad at me, because I love all the work that they're doing. But I've found in the work that I do that that's one of the more important things about it, as far as inclusion in data science, is that people who are scared and hesitant of using R because they're like, oh, there's no way I could be a hacker, coder, um, and it's just because it's one of those barriers, just the way it looks, it's intimidating. And so RStudio is just kind of this thing that we're going to download that just it serves as an interpreter between us and R, so that we never have to actually just open R. We open up RStudio, and it's a little bit prettier, and then we just talk to RStudio, and then RStudio knows that it has to then go talk to R. So I could ramble on about this forever. So let's just get going. So we're going to download R first. So just open up whatever browser you use, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, hopefully not, and just search for R download. And it's this first one up here. So we're going to click on that. And then over here it says download R, so we're going to click there. And we're going to scroll down. So basically this page is just kind of like all the different places where R is stored across the world. So there are servers in Brazil where you can download it, apparently. Canada, China, wherever. We're in the US, which is usually down here at the bottom. And I don't think it really matters that much which specific one of these you choose. I just always choose the one that's closest to me. I live in the DFW area. If you live in Cleveland, maybe you want to choose one of these. Saw Pittsburgh. Yeah, here's a Pittsburgh. The only suggestion I have is that whenever you have two options, you choose the one that has the S here, the HTTPS, rather than the one that doesn't have an S. The S means it's more secure, it's encrypted. Not that any of these are risky places to download things from. R is completely safe. It's just always err on the side of being safer. So I'm going to click on this one. And then up here you have options. If you're running on a Linux machine, choose that one. If you're on a Mac, choose this. And if you're on a Windows machine, like I am, I'm going to click on this one. And then up here it says install R for the first time. That's what we're doing. I already wiped it off my machine so that I could go through this with you. And here we're going to download R for Windows. It's not a very big software program. Your machine may even download it quicker than this. Mine's been running kind of slow lately. I need to clean it up. This should just take a couple of seconds longer. And then once this is done downloading, we're going to click on it and then start the installation wizard. So there we see it's blinking, so it's done downloading. So I'm going to click on it. And so it's just asking if you want to run it. We do want to run the installation process. That's what we're running. It's ask if you want to allow it to make changes to your computer. That just means, do you want to allow it to install it on your computer? And so we do. English is my first language, so I'm just going to leave it there. But if English isn't your first language and you're more comfortable with one of these others, you can choose one of those. The fine print. I don't think I've ever read this. I don't think our people are doing anything nefarious, so I trust it. So I'm just going to go ahead and click next, and it's probably not good to make a habit of that, but take my word for it. Our people aren't trying to get you. So this is just telling you where you want to install it. So just click next. I guess I might not have wiped it completely off of my computer, but that's fine. You probably won't get that pop up. Yeah, you probably won't get it. So you can just kind of ignore that. I was hoping I wouldn't run into anything like that. Anyway, so the next thing, I always unclick the 32 bit, because basically what this is saying that it's going to install both a 32-bit version of R and a 64-bit version of R on your computer. And so I don't really want two versions of R on my computer. I know that mine's a 64-bit computer. So that's the one that I'm leaving checked, so I know it's going to download that one. If you're not sure about what you have, 32 or 64, it's perfectly fine to just leave both of those checked. And then later on, whenever we open up RStudio to help us do things in R, RStudio is just going to know, okay, I'm just going to go find the right version of R, 32 or 64. So it's fine if you just leave both of those checked. We can just move ahead with the default settings. This is just asking about the start menu folder you want it in. That's fine. If you want, you can click here to get a desktop shortcut that'll put on your desktop up here. I'll go ahead and click on that. And hit next. Now it shouldn't take long to finish installing. Probably just a few more seconds. And then while we're waiting on that, I think it's important to repeat this several times that R is the stat software, the data science software that we're downloading to use. That's the one that's the muscle. That's the one doing all the work. The other thing this, but it's just important to remember that RStudio isn't the software that's doing the heavy lifting. That's R. RStudio is just something that's um, helping us use the software a little bit easier. So now you can just hit finish. And see, we have our little icon up here, and so it's time for the big reveal. Double click on that, and look at this ugly thing. It's basically just like a gross big gray calculator. So if you wanted to, you could click over here, 5 plus 5, and it'll tell you 10. So it's not a dumb calculator, it's just an ugly one. So we don't want to be staring at this all day. This isn't something you would want to sit in front of a desk for 8 hours looking at. So we're going to go download RStudio too. So let's get rid of this. We haven't really done anything important. All we did was add 5 plus 5, so we don't want to save the workspace. This is the workspace. We don't want to save that, so just hit no. And now we want to go download RStudio. So just do RStudio, all one word. Download. It's this top one up here, download RStudio by RStudio. Now RStudio does have some paid versions, not really paid versions of RStudio. They have services basically that they sell. So if you have really massive data, I think they offer some server hosting, things like that. We don't really care about any of that stuff. We just want the desktop version of RStudio over here to the left. And so we want to click on this. So if you have a Mac, you're going to want to click here. If you're running a Linux, you probably want to click one of these. Depends on whether you're 64 or 32-bit. I'm on a Windows, so I'm just going to click here to download it. So it's going to do the same thing down here. It's going to flash once it's done. There we go. So let's click on it. Again, it's going to ask you if you want to let it make changes to your computer. You do. You do want it to install on your computer. Yes. Just click next to continue. Again, sort of just the same kind of stuff we went through earlier. It's like what file paths do you want to save everything in? It's not really all that important because we're going to be, making desktop icons or pinning it down here to our bar, so we can just click on it. Just the name of the folder, RStudio, that's fine. So click install and it'll start installing. Oh man, coming up on 15 minutes. I didn't think it was going to take this long. And give me feedback, guys. I'm here for you. I want you to use me to help you learn this stuff. So I can't remember, did I show you all my email? This is my email. If you have any questions, you get hung up somewhere, shoot me an email, and I'll do what I can to help you get over whatever humps you're trying to get over in the beginning. And just tell me more about what you want me to be showing you, stuff that you're interested in. You may not know too much about what you want right now, but if I skipped over something or went too quickly through something, just let me know, and I'll post like some I don't know, like brief videos where I answer some of the frequently asked questions of what some of the issues were. So now we just click finish. So I don't see, it didn't save a RStudio icon anywhere, so we're just going to have to go looking for it. So if you click down here, and then click in your search programs and files, and then just type RStudio, all one word. So you can see it's right there. So you can just click on it. And now this looks a little bit better, right? I mean, it still doesn't look great. And honestly, I think whenever you download yours, all this is going to be white with black text. It's going to look a little plain. Um, I guess I didn't, like I said, I don't think I completely wiped everything off my computer. I was trying to make it as authentic as possible, as if I was downloading it for the first time. But I like different colors on mine, and so I'm just going to go ahead and show you where you can do that. If you click on Tools up here, I believe it's in Global Options, in Appearance, and I think, where's the default one? I don't know. You can just, I think the default looks something like this. You can hit Apply and see that's just too bright. That's too much white for me. I mean, I'm staring at a computer screen for way too much time every day, and so that's too much light to be hitting me in the eyes. So I usually like picking, actually, I think maybe that looks closer to the default. I think the one that I use is um, pastel on dark, or I think maybe it was like a twilight or something. Twilight. Yeah, I think I was twilight, but I like these kind of twilight or this pastel on dark. And you see, we'll learn more about the color coding that it has on these later on. Um, but for now, you just know that that's where you go if you want to change the way it looks. Again, that's in Tools, Global Options, and then Appearance. And then you just click which one you want. Also, you may not see this top pane whenever you first come in. It's probably going to look like that. If you want to see that top window, and that top window is where we're going to be doing most of our work, you just go up here and you click on this down arrow, click on RScript. So RScript is like a little tiny program that you write to do stuff to your data, and that's where all the magic happens. And so that's up here. So we're already past 15 minutes. I don't want this to get too much longer, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And when we come back next time, I'm going to talk about what data actually looks like, because there's a lot of stuff that you have to do to get your data in a neat little package for R to understand, because R is a picky little guy. He wants everything real structured, and he wants everything to look exactly the way he wants it to look. So that's what we're going to talk about next time. If you made it all the way through this with me, I'm glad you did. And I hope you come back next time when we actually start looking at some data now that we got all this download stuff out of the way. I believe in you. You can do this if you want to do it, and let's get to work.